Welcome back to Growth Without Referrals. Today I'm joined by Mariangelica Alvarado, founder of Luminary Catalyst, a firm focused on helping organizations turn strategy into execution, build scalable systems, and create intentional growth instead of accidental growth. What stood out to me about Mariangelica is how deeply involved she is in the real-world side of business development, running multiple networks, leading professional groups, and helping organizations unlock revenue that's already sitting inside their relationships. Mariangelica, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of your audience. This is always a great thing.
Awesome. So I want to start with your journey because you're not someone who just talks strategy. You live inside networks and leadership environments. Walk me through how you got into this space, what pulled you into business development and organizational strategy.
Thank you for the question. And it's a journey. Like I always call it, my journey began in two ways. Part of my story is that I'm very analytical. I thought I was going to be a math major and I thought I was going to be computer science. I realized I couldn't be programming, but that taught me how to kind of like decentralize and break things off into components and then kind of rebuild it, kind of reverse engineer success and things like that. But when I graduated, I went to become a financial advisor, and you have to grow your book of business, and it's scary. You know, you have a fresh license. Where do you begin? And someone actually turned me into chambers and how to start really putting myself out there for the community. And I understood quickly, because of my analytical background, how you need your center of influences, how you need your referral partners. How do you become a good referral partner? How do you become a center of influence? But the biggest take I got was how to get in front of the room, because that's when you have all eyes on you. And then you're able to then fish with a net and not with a, because then you're able to becoming a point of authority when you are trying to, develop that. It's easier from the front of the room than being part of the back of the room.
Hey, and I love that analogy, fishing with a net versus a pole. It's
Yep.
great. And what did you see businesses doing wrong when it came to
So I first saw it through my eyes because I'm trying to grow my book of business. So as a wealth advisor, you're kind of like a quasi entrepreneur, kind of business owner. So I realized that predictability and funnel control and understanding the timeline for your closing of your deals is paramount, right? It really is paramount. If I want to be able to predict how many closes I need or how many new clients I need to acquire, I need to be able to do that through knowing what's my closing ratio. How many people do I need to meet to then have how many appointments I want, which that's then the derivative is how many closes and how many clients I'm going to have. So that was the reverse engineering part. And it was a lot of math and I loved it. So yeah, that's you got to understand your buying cycle, your clients, your center of influences, where your referrals are coming from. How do you develop your pipeline? How do you manage your pipeline? All that good stuff.
Okay. And you mentioned something during our earlier conversation that really stuck with me, that many professionals have massive networks, but they're not actually generating revenue from them. Why do so many highly connected professionals struggle to turn relationships into revenue?
It's a great question, Mark. And I think that that's the age-old question. People will like you, but will they see you as someone who could be a good business partner in one way or the other? Large networks do not equal revenue unless you don't know how to work the room or work yourself or work your network. So you need to have a structure. And if you don't, you have a lot of missed opportunities. Like be vocal. Like if you identify a good business collaborator, let them know what you have in mind, what you want to work together with, how you want to structure that, and if they'll be on board to work together. Sometimes it's just starting a small project. Also, being a great referral partner, reciprocity is a big one. Like I give out a lot of referrals because that makes me a connector within my clients, my customers, my prospects, my community. So I make it intentional for me to get to know people and really understand what is that they're looking for. So I'm a better fit for them as well, to be honest with you.
Okay. And what's the difference between being well connected and being strategically connected?
I love that question. Okay. You have to start with a strategy. What is your
Mhm.
strategy that you're going to be doing? Are you going to be putting together events for you to be at the front of the room? A panel discussion or a workshop like the one you attended, that I invited you to.
Yes.
That's strategic. I am being very methodical and strategic with my end game. And then I build out the structure behind it. Who do I want to reach out to? Who do I want to partner up with? How do I want to invite? Am I going to cross pollinate with someone else's net? Podcasts are great because my network is going to see your podcast and your network is going to then be introduced to me. So we're really cross pollinating. This is a strategic growth move for both of us. So it's putting that kind of, A equals B equals C kind of movement. And then you're able to then see where you make a mistake. Show your work to yourself, right? Because if you make a misstep, was it the wrong partner? Was it the wrong time? Was it the wrong day? Was it the wrong part of the year? All these data points, I'm very big on data, is how you can then copy and paste the success and build on it. So then you can really have strategic growth, revenue, prospects, clients, everything.
And you're leading a workshop called Mining Your CRM for Gold, which is one of the most practical phrases I've heard in a while.
Thank
When
you.
you sit down with a company and look at their CRM, what do you typically find?
It is a digital junk drawer. They have not segmented. Oh, yeah, it's so true. It's a digital junk drawer. They have dormant relationships in there. They're not segmenting their audience. Let's say you have a 1,200 people. How many have you identified who are your clients? Have you identified if they're business owners? Have you identified their industries? Have you identified where they came from? Did they come through social media? Did they come to you through a referral partner? Did they come through you through an organization? All of these data points are not being identified. So that already makes it a digital junk drawer. And then there's an inconsistency in follow ups. How often are you setting that cadence? Do you want to set up with your clients monthly, quarterly, semi annual? There's no prioritization of their actions. Are you documenting the last meeting notes that you had with them in that digital CRM for them? So again, it's nothing more than a digital junk drawer. So we have to go in there and analyze. I always go in with an audit. What are the data points that you're collecting? Which ones are you missing? Um, how are you utilizing? How's your team utilizing it? Have you standardized that with a standard operating procedure? All of these things, again, salespeople are the worst. We hate admin stuff that we do not see as revenue generating activities. But when you do a paradigm shift and you show your sales team how the CRM can be a revenue generating activity, then the information they put in there becomes more valuable to them as well as to the organization.
Yes. And what is the first step someone can take to activate relationships they already have?
Audit your calendar from last year. I do this every year and I identify when's the last time I contacted people that I liked. Who are the people that I met with that I'm like, God dang it, I should have really stayed connected to them and just reach out, send a message, be like, I have these things that I'm working on. I'd love to share them with you. And I would also know what you're working on this year that maybe I can bring resources to. That opens up and warms up the relationship again that may have gone dormant. But if you haven't identified them, if you don't audit your own calendar from the previous year, you're missing opportunities right there and compounding it year after year.
I like that. And you made a great analogy that referrals are like sprinkles on a sundae, not the main substance.
No.
What happens to businesses that rely too heavily on referrals?
So I just had this conversation with someone else and I said to them, referrals for referrals, I think you're mislabeling it. Referrals is a byproduct of a good
Mm,
relationship, whether it is a referral partner or educating your clients that you are always available for referrals. So referrals is really a byproduct of a really strong relationship. So one of the ways that I tell everybody is why they're sprinkles is because they're not necessarily predictable. You can't really bank on them. You really can't count on them because you can't go back to your referral partner and say, how come you haven't given me any referrals this quarter or this year? That's really not it. But if you audit your experience with that person and you're like, okay, I need more referrals from this particular referral partner. How am I not educating them? Why am I not warming up this relationship better enough? So really referrals are great, but they're really a byproduct of a really strong relationship, whether with your clients or your referral partners.
That's a great perspective. And what does active business development actually look like in practice?
Okay, so I eat my own cooking, meaning everything I tell my clients to do, I do myself, which is whenever before I end a meeting with a really great referral partner, hey, can we set up a cadence where we meet every 10 weeks, every 3 months, and we stay on each other's calendars to then revisit what we're doing, what we're not doing. That way we're top of mind with one another. The other thing is, I always actively ask for what are you working on? What's a need? What's a deal? Want that I can help you with. And then I will put that again in my CRM for that referral partner or that person that I spoke with. So actively and intentional means that if this is someone that you're identified as a really strong relationship, then make them so important they're part of your calendar on a systematic basis throughout the year. And also, my other question that I ask everyone is if you're going to a really great event, let me know. I'll join you there because there is a magic when it comes to multiple great, strong network people that can be out there fishing for you in that same event you're going to be going to. Why go by yourself when having a buddy makes it even a better experience? So, a lot of my network, we constantly send each other invites for events that we're going to be at, and we're a multiplier for each other.
Okay. And you talked about something that hits a nerve for a lot of founders, the idea that without systems, you do not have a business. You own your own job. What are the key systems every growing company must build if they want to scale?
Standard operating procedures, number one. You have got to have visibility into your processes. How are you going to grow your scale, your business if you don't know how to transfer what's going up in here, which is the knowledge base, right? If I'm going to be training someone to then be a part of my team, I've got to give them a breakdown. These are the things that we're going to be exercising. These are the ways that we're going to roll out your training. This is how we're going to reinforce that. So standardizing that allows for scalability. The other part is the conversion. You have to know your conversion for scalability because as you have 5 deals this week, well, if that multiplies to 15 next week, how are you going to then onboard those people? You need to have your onboarding process down pat as well. Because if you get to that point where you're growing and you have a growing pain, when do you pull the trigger on bringing in a third person? How fast can you train that third new team member to be able to integrate well and then help you continue giving good service to your clients? That's always something that I say. So scalability means repeatability, which means documentation, which means updating that information. That's not a one and done. I have SOPs as part of my company that we've updated 3 times because we always find something else we want to capture. That if we're going to bring in someone else, we want to be able to have them have all the tools that they need to feel like they can jump in and start helping us and be a resource immediately.
Okay. And here's a question. What breaks first when systems are not in place?
Communication.
Hmm.
If you don't have
Yep.
communication, your system is going to break, whether a new change, whether a new way of doing something. Communication means that from the team, I tell my team, there are no bad answers. There's no bad questions. Innovate with me. Failure just says that we've just learned something new. So with my virtual assistant, for example, I gave her the task of helping me with the newsletter and I gave her just a structure. And then I said to her, bring me ideas. And in
Hmm.
the beginning, when your boss tells you, bring me ideas, the poor girl was like lost. I said, there's no bad answers. Like, what are you thinking? You're 25. Give me your perspective. What are you doing in social media? What do you see that's hitting with you? Fill that gap for me. I have one prism. Give me that input. So we put together like a crowdsourcing document on the share drive where we're constantly putting ideas in there. We're highlighting, we're deleting, but it's a living, breathing thing. So it goes back to I needed to communicate to her what I needed, but then that meant always updating the SOPs and things like that because that creates continuity. If tomorrow I'm not available, my team knows where to go to the resource. If tomorrow my VA wins the lottery, I have everything documented so then the next VA can come in, can then go back and learn. And it's a shorter learning curve.
Okay.
It's a communication.
I like that. And when you walk into an organization, what tells you immediately whether growth is sustainable or fragile?
Usually I come in when it's fragile. If it's sustainable, they don't need me. Really. It's true. If you have it running smooth, I applaud you. And there's always ways to tweak it and make it better, right? But usually it's stagnant. Usually there's a bottleneck. Usually there's a disconnect with their sales team. Either their buying cycle has gotten much longer, or the prospects that they're bringing in are not converting right. It's not really turning into clients. Before they took 5 introductions to get 3 clients. Now they're getting at 9 introductions to get the same 3 clients. Disconnect.
Hmm.
Is your new sales team not versed enough in your products and your services for them to know how to identify the right candidates, prospects for your funnel, for the company funnel? So where's the disconnect? Do they need more confidence building when they ask for the meeting? Or are they not vetting that prospect properly to see if they were really a good fish for them?
Okay. And you're deeply involved in leadership communities and professional groups,
Yeah.
and you see leaders juggling massive responsibilities. What are the biggest capacity challenges leaders face today when they're trying to grow?
They don't know what to get off their plate so they can have more bandwidth. And
Hmm.
I'm culprit of that too. I still do a lot of things that I could give my VA to do, but because I'm a control freak and I want to control my calendar and I'm the one that knows this, she doesn't have all the I haven't just sent that out to her yet. But that's me, right? I have a particular way of handling things and I know I got to let it go. But it goes back to getting things off my plate to then have more what I call entrepreneurial eyes, where I'm now forecasting, understanding where I want the business to grow, even though I'm good at doing that because business development is in my wheelhouse. So I've always said Luminary Catalyst first client was Luminary Catalyst, developing my funnel, understanding what groups I needed to be a part of, understanding how to pitch the services and clearly, consistently. So my center of influences know how to bring me referrals and also how to identify the right prospect for me. So, to your point, what do we need to do? Clear stuff off, learn how to take stuff off our plate, get a really good assistant or a really good team, document those things so it's SOPs are important and open up your bandwidth so then you could be out there really being the forward thinker for your business.
Okay. And I agree
What do
with
you
that.
do, Mark? How do you do your own thing?
Well, I think delegation's an important aspect of it. So, to your point, being able to focus on the right things, the strategic things, and maybe delegate things that are things that can be handled by others
Yeah.
to free you up so you can have that strategic vision and implement it. So,
It's
I agree with
implementation
you.
also. Yeah, the implementation, that's when we have to bring in the team and delegate. Once we come
Hmm.
up with a vision, come out with a framework and learn what we can delegate and what we don't delegate.
That's right. And how does leadership discipline affect revenue growth?
Communication goes back to the same thing. If you're going to
Mm,
be forecasting a new path, a new revenue, then you need to be able to reverse engineer what that's going to mean to your time, your efforts, identify are you going to I just had this so funny this week. It's been a lot of conversations with my center of influences because it was the beginning of Q2 and we a lot of us have our we reach out to one another before the beginning of every quarter to kind of see where we're at, what were the wins, what were the losses, and all these things. So we've been having these talks and breaking down the big revenue increase to quarterly and then monthly and then daily. Why is that important? Because you need to give yourself little bites to see if you're going to hit your big revenue growth. If you have a goal of $250,000 a year, what does that translate to monthly? What does that translate to weekly, daily? Because then if you have an opportunity to get a big client, what is that going to get you to your goal? Like you need to have those micro goals to be able to hit the big goals.
And what does predictable growth actually look like inside an organization?
Predictable growth comes from predictable funnel. You need to know how many opportunities you need. Yeah, I mean, from your funnel comes your sales, and that comes to your conversion rate, which then translates to revenue. And then you have to be able to see, if you want to grow that revenue by an X amount of dollars, break it down to your clients. If you have 3 different SKUs or services, which one of which is going to be more profitable? But the other thing is, look at last year's. You have to audit which services, what was your biggest driver? When was your biggest opportunity? Identify which months are more predictable for you. which months brought in more revenue, what are your slow months of the year, how do you capitalize on that. Summer's always slow in the business to business space. That's when I tell, reach out to your center of influences, your referral partners, because your clients are out on vacation, but other business owners don't really leave with that. Also, identify other people's peak seasons and low seasons. I know not
Hmm.
to reach out to anybody in the CPA accounting space between January and April 15th. I reach out to them sporadically, and if they reply back to me, I'm good. But I know that come summer, we have better time for us to discuss.
That's great. And you've seen a lot of growth initiatives succeed and fail. What
Mhm.
is something businesses consistently try that just does not work?
I don't think it's a matter of not working, is that it doesn't work for you, but you have to look at the
Hmm.
data. If you're going to try a new initiative, like for example, right now, I've heard about Substack a lot and I'm part of the Substack community. So for us at Luminary Catalyst, we wanted to now implement Substack. So now we're building that out and we're going to do a 90-day pilot program for us. And we're going to see what is the opportunities, where can we get better. It's not that it doesn't work for us yet. We don't know whether it's going to work or not. It's a hypothesis, whether it is or it isn't. So we give ourselves 90 days to look at the data, try it out, execute a plan. We came up with a framework, and now we're in the middle of implementing it. So at the end of the quarter, was it worth our time? You won't know that until you try out the hypothesis.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And looking ahead, business development is changing fast. What do you think leaders need to start doing now to stay competitive?
Incorporate AI, artificial intelligence, whether it's a chat bot, whether it's something else. Understand those tools. I love AI for analyzing data. It is such a whiz at that. I use it to create certain things that I have, use it as crowdsourcing. I use it as an adversary. I've trained mine to ask me horrible questions to see if I can answer it. I use it in so many different capacities. I feel like most people use it like in elementary levels, where if you really, really use it well, like college level, and that, like where you're able to create your own system in there where you're then, it's just a powerful tool. I think of it almost like e-commerce. Once upon a time, people would have laughed that why would I buy something through the internet? People don't want to buy things through the internet. People want to touch, feel, walk out of the store with it. That's not what happened. E-commerce dominates. The
Hmm.
only thing that I really buy in person is makeup and shoes. Aside from that, pretty much everything is through Amazon. But again, if we don't adapt to the incoming technologies, we're going to fail by those incoming technologies. So AI really needs to be on everyone's line of sight.
And what habits will separate thriving companies from struggling ones?
Lack of innovation. I
Hmm.
really do believe that. So I say this because cross pollinating from other industries that may not be something in your industry, but then they have a great idea in another one. See how that would translate to you. And I'll give you an example of that. I believe that when the NFL was looking for a new chief marketing officer, right, you'd think they would have gotten something from like someone that knew football, that someone that knew something of that sport industry, maybe from MLB, NHL, or something like that. Actually, it wasn't the gaming industry. He was the CMO for a gaming company that was huge. And the reason why they chose him is because when you look at the demographics of most, if not all, NFL players, they're all under the age of 25 and they're all gamers. So
Hmm.
this was a way of bringing together something innovative and different and speak to their language. They came up with a really cool commercial that they actually debuted at the one of the um games where I think it was a Super Bowl where it was old time classic NFL players, new time NFL players. And I think they were at some dinner and there was a football, a golden football that rolled off the table that I think was on the cake or something. And you had all these old time football players and the new ones, and they lunged for the ball. But what was cool about it is that there was a waiter with pink hair or purple hair. I can't remember the color of his hair right now. If you did not know that, he is Ninja, one of the top gamers on Twitch, that he's got a strong followers where people pay to watch him just play this couple of games on Twitch. But it was a good little Easter egg of having this gamer be a waiter in this whole thing. Why is that important? Because you're bringing the old and the new, innovation with classic, you're cross-pollinating audiences. And if you're not doing that with your business, if you're not thinking of new ways of innovating, of bringing a product, a service, or new eyes to you, you're missing the ball, pun intended.
Okay. And Mariangelica, I want to end on a practical note. If someone listening today has a large network, but inconsistent revenue, what is the one thing they should do this week?
Identify 10 strong relationships that they have in that network. Cultivate
Okay.
that relationship. Now, I'm not saying the ones that you're already using. I'm saying identify 10 new ones. Where is that missing opportunity? Where are you leaving money on the table? Where are you not fishing where you should be fishing? And that's by not the same 10 additional ones. And take 6 months, 2 quarters to reach out, reconnect, re-strategize, and try out that hypothesis and see where you could actually make money together.
This has been an incredibly practical conversation.
Thank
And I
you.
really
Hi, Mark.
appreciate you sharing this perspective. For listeners who want to learn more about your work at Luminary Catalyst or explore your approach to growth and systems, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Definitely my website. It's just the easiest thing to remember, luminarycatalyst.com. There's a page at the bottom. At the bottom of our page, contact us. Send me an email through there. I'll get the information. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Just spell the name right. It's only one A in the center, Mariangelica Alvarado, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm always checking my LinkedIn. Those are the two easiest places to find me.
Okay. And listeners, we will have her contact information at the bottom in the description, so you can look there too. But this has been a great conversation, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.